afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Public Facilities Meeting. We will go ahead and start this off. I'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then please remain standing after. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Sarah's going to put this on the screen for me, please. A lot of you guys know everything that happened this week. It was, no matter what side you're on, not political, but this is a gentleman that basically believed that we could do this. So I would ask if you guys would stand just for a moment of silence for Mr. Charlie Kirk. Thank you, and we will go ahead and get this meeting started. I appreciate that, everyone. Sarah, do we meet the statement of compliance with FOIA?
Yes, sir, we did.
Perfect. I will ask for a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So I'll make that motion. I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Lawson. Thank you. Any objection? The agenda will also be approved. We'll move on to the approval of minutes for August 18th, 2025. Tab, can I have a motion for that?
Yes, sir, I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Any objection? And
If they object, they have to rewrite them.
Thankfully, I see no objection. We will move on to number 6, the public comment. I do not have any signups. Do you have any other after? Is there anybody that did not get a chance to sign up that would like to speak today? I know it's a small group of us today, but we're here to have a good time. All right, we will close the public comment period and move right into the Assistant County Administrator report. How are you today?
Excellent. Good afternoon. This is the long-awaited vacant property discussion. Give you a little bit of history. I know it's been done a couple times over years. I've seen the big binder notebooks and some reports. They're probably thorough, but not really easy to follow. So what we did is we worked directly with the assessor. And I said this back when you first asked for it was, you know what? There's only so many. There were several hundred, probably 500 plus. That we started with. But instead of just relying on old reports, we started over. And we just went number by number in the GIS mapping system and started saying, okay, what has deed restrictions because it's protected? Or what is a right-of-way that might look like a lot, but it's really so that you can do a turnaround eventually in intersection improvements, et cetera. And so what you have today is up on the screen. I sent you a printed version, but that's not as functional as what you'll get emailed. What you have here is one central spreadsheet of vacant land in the county with a clear header of what they are. There's tabs at the bottom. If you can look down to the bottom, the one I pulled up, for example, was rural and critical. But what Dan and the GIS department were helpful in doing is, you don't have to do what we did, which was to cut and paste these numbers into our GIS system. You can just click on the number, on the blue number on the left. So Dan will show you an example. Just click on one. Please work. We're on Wi-Fi.
It's going to work.
What it will do is I'll talk about it before it comes up. It will actually pull it up in GIS. The default setting is going to come up and you won't see the actual satellite imagery. And if you've ever used our GIS system, all you do is click on the layers section and you can see the trees and the roads and all that stuff. It'll make it make sense. But if you also look at the spreadsheet, do not be deterred by class codes because a lot of times it says commercial vacant, but that doesn't tell the whole story. That is just what comes out of our system. What we worked on with Audra, is Audra here? Audra put a ton of time into this as well, working with the various departments to get a little bit of a narrative in English what that property is. So there's what will come up for each one of these properties. Thank goodness for their work. So you'll be able to see where it is. You can zoom out and see what it's near, et cetera. But these are just backup because the properties that are on every sheet except for one have restrictions associated with them. Some are adjacent park properties that are for expansion or growth. Some that appeared to be usable are drainage for a development that they gave to us because we get calls all the time about a parcel. I'll just pick up one up. On 278, right in front of a development, And that, if you look back into the deeds, which is what we did throughout this process, that was granted to us, and that's where all their stormwater outfall is. So you'll see stormwater, rights-of-way, and there's some inaccessible and wetlands. So if you've ever looked at some of our parcels on some of the islands, they're actually in the ocean. Those are on that. They're all there. So you can go through, and if you have questions, if anybody wants to sit down with this spreadsheet later, give me a call, and we'll do it. Next, let's go to what Dan then created is of the remainder properties, which I was a little bit disappointed, but it is what it is. It's a little underwhelming as far as what doesn't have restrictions and what can we really discuss here today. So Dan created this interactive map. I sent out a picture of it, and you'll see that not all the numbers are there. That's because some of the parcels are close together, and those numbers cover each other up. But on the left side is the legend of what each parcel is. Similarly, has a associated TMS, or PIN number, how many acres it is, and then a brief, in English, simple description of what it is. So, a couple that are not highlighted are ones that were available but already have plans associated with them. So, a couple examples, as you can look down to say 16, 17, 19, those are parcels purchased in Okatee for potential law enforcement center, emergency response, et cetera. You can see one that looked like a really attractive parcel right in the middle of Sun City, but that's Station 39. There are some that are parcels that we've discussed or we purchased specifically for affordable housing that we're working on an MOU with the Housing Trust and BMH. Those are all in there. The ones that are highlighted though, and we'll go ahead and, what you'll do when you get this map link is you can actually click on the number. And when you zoom in, you'll see more numbers. But in order to show the whole county and fit the legend on there, it's a zoomed out view. So Dan will zoom in for you. These are just parcels that potentially could be declared excess and given to, say, a habitat if they wanted to do houses in areas around the county. This is one, there are several on Page Point Road. There's a little bit of wetlands in the back, but it's not part of a drainage easement. There are some that were, there's one that's right up against the boat landing, and it looked like a good lot, but that's the parking for the boat landing down at the end of the road. But this is for you to see. So let's go, so one is there, and then how do you get back out of that, Dan? So you can show them?
It's right here on the house, right on the left.
Upper left, you click on the house, takes you home, and then you click on another number. Let's go into the, so let's go back to, where's the legend, Dan?
Yep, right here to the edge.
There we go. So there's, you can see the top three are properties on Page Point Road. The fourth one is a parcel in the industrial area that we own 50-50 with the city. And that's something that's being marketed for reuse, but again, that's something that would be disposed of not by declaring it excess, but through the sale process with the development corporation, et cetera. That's a nice piece of property, high and dry on the road, that have communicated with the corporation about disposing of for profit, or at least for a good project. Next, we'll go to a couple more that are in the highlighted sections. There's another lot, if you go to 12, this is a good residential lot in the middle of a neighborhood that we own. Again, that's good for whether it's Habitat or the Housing Trust or somebody to do something in the affordable workforce housing world. And then, since there's only 6, we may as well go through them one by one. Another one that's a little bit of an anomaly, we had to find it just through historic data because it wasn't on the list, is where the old water slide was on
Yeah,
the road out to St. Helena, on St. Helena.
I remember it.
That's a 2.3 acre parcel on the main road.
Is that many acres? Wow.
And then there is the last one, which is we had given property at one time to the Gullah Farmers Co-op that they're on, that I believe it used to be an old community building. And there's a similarly sized parcel just beside it that could be used if they ever expanded. It could be used for other uses. It's not, it's right on Ballpark Road, which is, if you go farther down Ballpark Road is where Wesley Felix Rec Center is, but it is one of the only other potential properties that you could do something with. But of those 6, again, if you guys discuss here today or we want to discuss in the future, again, or I guess it's 6 if you take out the industrial property because we know what that's for. But those would be the ones that we could look and work with partners in the housing world to see if we could move the needle a little bit. If there are any questions, go ahead and fire away. But I also, with the spreadsheet, if you get looking at it and you have questions, give me a call and we'll talk about it.
I appreciate the work you put in this, because I know you're working on it a long time. And I'd love to see us talk about some way we could partner with Habitat for Humanity or whatever, because we're just sitting on these properties.
Yeah.
Not the ones in the ocean, of course, or in the river, but these properties.
Excellent. And those conversations have been in the background already, because we shared the raw list with a couple different people to help hey, you dig through it and see what you find. Maybe
Yeah.
we missed something, and everything matched up as far as what was desirable, and then we were able to explain, well, that does look good, but here's the real story. And so that follow-up conversation should be fairly easy.
I'm almost thinking, is this something we should put together a workshop for? If we only have 10 properties, and then we can sit there and go through the properties with the group and identify a couple and who they'd work with.
Okay?
Is that I mean, how does everyone else feel about that? I mean, because we could sit up here and talk about it right now, but actually like put pen to paper and actually make use of this.
Right.
I mean, because you guys put in the effort on the back end, we requested that, let's put in the diligence and the time to actually move forward and not just talk about it.
Got it.
I
So,
think that'd be great.
Sarah, if we could pull some time, the next, I don't know, month or two, some type of date where like we have a committee meeting, and we could follow it up with a workshop or prior to it, maybe at like noon. If we could do a workshop beforehand and that give us some time to brainstorming without an end date before like a 2 o'clock meeting, I think that'd be great.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
And also, I'm sure in the overlay, we have it, is there water and sewage to these? Some of them, probably St. Helena is just water, but.
Right, and I'd have to look up, I would imagine Page Point Road probably doesn't have sewer, but it may have water, but we did look into that with
Yeah.
Beaufort Jasper.
I mean, Habitat can
I
still
don't think
do
so. I
that.
think it's well and septic up there.
Definitely a fair question.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can look at, now that we've got this list down, and I wanted to share with you the functionality, and we'll send you a link to use it,
That'd be great.
but it's, again, a short list, and we can have all that information ready for a workshop.
Cool. I guess we'll look forward to Sarah pulling us some dates and we'll go from there. That work?
And we'll email out the actual spreadsheet with the clickable numbers.
Okay.
If you really are bored and want to go through it, but
Tab will.
When I can't sleep at 3 in the morning, yes.
all right, and thanks to Dan and,
No, that's
again,
perfect. That's
Audra,
awesome work, guys.
And she
Thank
worked
you.
with like Amanda Flake and other people to really dig through all these things.
Yeah, I mean, this is something we've been talking about for years, and you guys got it done, so appreciate it. All right, anything else for the county administrator reports?
Yes.
Jared, how are you?
Good, great. We have another discussion item to talk to you guys about. So facilities management, just come brief on some of the projects that they've been working on over the past year. You've heard a lot over the last couple months from Capital Projects Management. So just to remind you, Capital Projects Management is really, they're working on either new projects or large renovation projects like the admin center. And facilities management is working on smaller maintenance projects or operational type projects. So you'll see a lot of $50,000, $40,000 type projects, even up a little bit higher than that. But they've done a lot. I'm really excited, and you guys are aware of this with the condition assessment. We're working to get our buildings up to a state of repair, good repair. And as we're doing that, we're making a lot of input. I feel the pulse. I hope you guys do. I feel like we're spinning putting the work in on the flywheel, and eventually we will really see that flywheel take off. So with that, we have Frank Stroncheck, our facilities management director, and Jason Bessinger, our deputy director, both here. And Frank's going to come talk and give you guys an update on projects that we've been working on.
Perfect.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you, everybody.
Morning.
It's great to give a State of the Union, if you will, of the Facilities Department. Before I begin, I want to first send out some thank yous. Thank you to Mr. Moore, County Council, for endorsing, approving, and allowing us to do the things that we think we needed to do and wanted to do in order to better Beaufort County facilities. So, thank you. Second thank you goes to Jason, as Deputy Director, spearheading a lot of the things that we do. He's invaluable. Additionally, Vanessa O'Donnell, who is our office manager, she, together with Jason, spearhead everything that we do. And without them, we couldn't do what we're doing. And without your support, we couldn't tell you about the great successes that we're experiencing. So, without further ado, here we go. Okay, where we were, 2025, this is a little snapshot of what we've accomplished. And again, it's because of you allowing us to do this. New the Smart Sheet software managing facility CIP. So, when I arrived, we had limited abilities to kind of track capital projects within facilities. So we found this Smart Sheet software, which incredibly affordable, was able to give us real-time data, great information. Since then, the CIP department has also adopted that software system, and it's really helping to bring great visibility. We increased our staffing by 70%. We acquired 3 new vehicles. We had internal promotions at the director level, director, deputy director, assistant, superintendent. We remodeled the facility building, the creation of a standalone facility department, which was really, really critical. And then new phones for all staff members, which they're going to need for the new software we're getting ready to have onboarded through Brightly. Okay. So we were also in 2025 looking for ways to save money. So with replacing old HVAC units, new LED retrofits, we saved $196,000, almost $200,000. We are projecting to save within 5 years through energy savings, rebates, and grants $1 million a year. We also reduced water usage at the detention center by 120%. As of 11 months ago, we identified incredible leaking to the tune of millions of gallons. Because of that, we have this app, Eye on Water. We could see the areas where the water was leaking, but then we had to bring in a facility team, Jason, and their team, to really kind of locate exactly where it is. And where it was under concrete, behind concrete walls, under concrete floors.
Of course it was.
So lots of great work and reduced water usage, 120%. That's pretty phenomenal. Okay, here we're going to go into a few projects. As Jared mentioned, we, facilities, take care of some capital projects as well as our regular projects. Here, when you're kind of looking at these projects, I would just ask that you kind of look at the months and months of work that goes behind each project, of locating what needs to be done, creating the statements of work. After you do that, then putting it out to bid. And once you put it out to bid, selecting the vendor, and then meeting with the vendor, and then working with everybody in the buildings who you have to work around. There's a lot that goes in behind it. So in addition to looking at the pictures and looking at what we've done, which I've sampled about 15 of our projects here, but we've completed about 60 of these capital projects, in addition to the thousands of work orders that come in every year. So here's the library before. You can see there's some hazards for walking. You can see lots of pipes trying to drain water away from the building during the rainstorms. Water was getting in. Here you can see afterwards. No pipes, no obstructions, and no water leaking into the building. Public Works before, I think we've all seen what Public Works building looked like before, and that's what it looked like. And after the maintenance team, who also worked with contractors, went in and really did all this work, this is what it looks now. It looks like a brand new building. The Albergotti Creek, before needing the railings replaced, we, along with Public Works, in conjunction with Public Works, did this. Detention center, lots of ugly before pictures here. Lots of digging, lots of pipes, millions of gallons of water being lost. And here's what it looks like after. So we have brand new carpet, we've got brand new paint, walls, ceiling tiles, a little bit more of what it looks like, much fresher look. In addition to identifying all the leaks, we've done lots of upgrades inside. BIV, foundation lift. That's where HR is located. The foundation was sinking. We had walls that were cracking, so we had to get in there and fix it. So that's one of the many monumental projects. Okay, a fence around a dumpster doesn't seem like it's a, big project, but I tell you what, it makes a big difference. Instead of seeing that dumpster out there all by itself, great job. Courthouse chiller, another big project. Great success there. Courthouse HVAC. Vending machines. Who knew facilities managed vending machines? But we do. That's what it used to look like on the right. On the left is what it looks like now. BIB lightning strike. About a year ago, July the 7th, I think it was, lightning struck the BIB building, BIB 3, which is where our IT closet is housed, which is where all of our communication, all of our intricate data is stored. So when it did strike, we had facilities team, they had to come in and they had to cool down the building real quick because the HVAC wasn't working. They had to get a new UPS system going pretty quick so that it safeguarded all of our communications within the county. Here's the UPS system. There's the HVAC we had to replace. Defusky Island. There isn't any place the facilities team will not go to fix something, including Defusky. Myrtle Park elevator modernization. That's one of many that need to be taken care of, but that one's already taken care of, which is a great thing. And we have 6 of them lined up to take care of in 26. Library conference room, good looking carpet replacement there. Buckwalter generator, big project, big success. Okay, 2.5 months into 26, we have acquired a bucket truck, again, thanks to y'all. Brightly work order and asset software implementation is underway. We've hired a new project manager, Ron Lewis. We have Omnia approval for project completion. We have an internal promotion of Sonny McElhaney as our new facilities operations coordinator. And we have a robust pull-behind generator for emergent needs. This is where we see ourselves by the end of 26. New Brightly work order system fully functional. New facilities building assessments. Building energy audits. Asset database creation. A 20-year facility CIP plan visible via Brightly dashboard. New employees. Increased project completion as a result of a new project manager and use of Omnia, and increased energy savings via retro lighting and HVAC replacements to a total of $250,000 projected. So that's the facility state of the union, and any questions?
Any questions? I just have one. You were talking about the savings, about 100 or 200 grand on the electrical and HVAC. Do we have a timeline for the ROI on those money we invested? If we're looking at $1 million a year.
250 is what we saved in 24. We're going to save $500,000, 25. By 26, 1.5, 27. By 27, $1 million. So let me restate that. 25, 250, 26, 250. That's $500,000. 27, we have 3/4, and 28, 29, we should be rotating ROI through all 3 rebates, grants, and energy savings.
So about that 4 or 5 year mark, we should be back to break even.
I'd say
and
about 4 or
start.
5 year mark.
Perfect.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Jared, do you have anything else? No, sir. All right, we will move on then to our agenda items. Progress report of the USDA compost pilot program and charter review. Ms. Hoffman, how are you?
Hi, good, how are you?
Doing splendid.
Here with good news, talking about dirt.
Spill the tea.
Yeah, you know what, the compost tea.
Yeah.
Whoop, shoop. Okay, so
make
you
me.
received an executive, you set it up. You received an executive summary. If you do have any questions, we can discuss any of those, especially the figures. Looking at you, Tab. But I'll go ahead and get right into my presentation and keep it short and sweet. I know we just recently did a robust solid waste and recycling update. Alrighty, so just providing you guys a synopsis of what we've done recently since we last spoke to you. When we originally requested the funds from USDA, we were supposed to have a partner, and that partner did unfortunately pull out, and they were supposed to provide the composting services. And that's okay, they just didn't want to move forward with a food waste permit. It is kind of daunting, and there are a lot of regulations and stipulations with the state. So anyway, we moved forward. We're going to just do it ourselves. Why not, right? Present it with a challenge, and we're fighting it head on. So we decided to select the Public Works campus off of Shanklin Road as our pilot program. So because of the equipment that we purchased, the in-vessel unit, we're able to qualify for not really a permit, but it's called a conditional exemption. So we've already, and I'll get more into that too, but we've already applied for that conditional permit. We procured our equipment, and then we're also working on our outreach materials. Education outreach are going to be a big portion of this project, just to get more people aware of what composting is and how they can also tag along in our journey. Like I said, we did have some challenges with not being able to move forward with our partnership. That's okay. And then also, we just know that community awareness is going to be a really big obstacle that we need to tackle with this. And then, of course, just procurement, things taking longer than anticipated. When we originally issued the RFP for our composting in-vessel unit, we only received one bid. So we decided to go ahead and push that out another 30 days. So that did prolong the time that it took to procure the equipment. But ultimately, we feel confident because of doing that. We initially only got the one response. We ended up getting, I believe, 5, and then already procured that equipment. But it just did take some time that sometimes we just don't consider and account for. And then the next steps, since we're going to be doing it in-house, our in-house public works team, we've got a lot of great guys in the field. They're going to be doing our site prep for the in-vessel unit. We're going to be doing some center upgrades. So if you have gone to Shanklin, there is a shed up that will be housing the food waste receptacles. And the other 4 big centers will get those as well. So it'll be originally starting off Shanklin, St. Helena, Hilton Head, and Bluffton that will have those. And then, of course, we'll continue to create our outreach materials. All right. As you all are already aware of, the objectives of the compost project is to divert waste. Like Frank said, you know, the bin outside was unsightly. A lot of times people don't think about where their waste goes after they're done with it, and this is one of the things that we're going to be educating people about. Like, yeah, that's gross and it stinks, but we have solutions. So moving forward. Got a little, patience is not one of the things I have readily available, so sorry about the clicking forward too fast. Anyway, when we asked for the funds from USDA, some of our goals and future planning took into account not only collecting food waste from residents at our convenience centers. In the future, after we get this up and running and we're successful in getting what we receive from the centers, we're going to engage the local schools and get them engaged into composting and diverting food waste. And then hopefully maybe that'll decrease their waste costs. And then also we'd like to initiate a green business plan, getting local businesses set up in Beaufort County composting, and then working with the state on initiatives. They have some really great incentives that they offer businesses. So all of these are just kind of future year planning. Right now, within the next couple of years, we'll be engaging residents and encouraging them to divert food waste. And this is just a little recap of our timeline. Our funds became available. They really came available in June of 2024, but because of the fiscal year changeover, we didn't really receive the funds and were able to move forward until July of 2024 with that fiscal year. But we did begin our projects and started procuring vendors and equipment in December. We started outfitting the centers in June, and we are going to be installing our composting unit in November. And once that is established, then we'll be able to start diverting food waste. I had all in the notes, but I didn't read from any of them. So hopefully I answered all the questions that I anticipated you asking. If not, we have time for that. But I do think the next slide, yes, is finances. Okay, yes. So you did have a bit more information in your executive summary of those finances. I did just want to note that we have been using not only USDA grant funds, but DES grant funds, and that those are funds that we receive from the state. And then a portion of them have been Beaufort County funds. Okay, this is my big moment.
Okay.
Drum roll, please. I had this all planned out, and then I get so nervous, like looking at myself on camera. But drum roll, please. We
It's the mascot.
we have really
Could be one of
exciting
two
news
things.
that I really came here to tell you. So excited to introduce to you our new mascot for our composting program. So a lot of the funds that we receive from DES or USDA were for a robust education and outreach program. And a lot of thought and consideration went into creating this mascot character. We worked with several county personnel, including our PIO, and a local well-known Gullah Geechee advocate, Queen Quet. We wanted Mossy to display the essence of Beaufort County with a hint of Gullah Geechee culture. She was inspired by our low-country environment. Our collaboration with Queen Quet was to ensure cultural authenticity and the Gullah Geechee representation. And you can see a bit about what her personality is going to entail when we create the animations for her. So our vendor, Moondog, has been working with us. We went through several iterations, went back and forth. As you can see, her shoes, they're made of sweetgrass, braided sweetgrass. Her dress is supposed to look like a banana and a banana peel, and then she's got shell earrings, and her hair is supposed to look like a fern wrap. So we're really excited about this, and we really did take a lot of thought and consideration in creating her. We wanted it to be able to convey like wise and gentle, and we want her to tell stories about composting to not only like engage kids, but hopefully adults as well. PBS, look out. Here we come. I don't even take myself serious, so it's okay. All right, any questions for me on any of the above?
Do we have any
I'll
questions?
make a comment.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think the character looks great.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited. Our team, we went back and forth with names. Mossy was the original idea, so that's what we're rolling with, unless anybody has any objections.
I wish it has great success, the program. It's
I really
good.
think it will. I really think it will, and honestly, the joke about PBS, it's a goal. It would be great to have BC TV and creating a program where we can educate kids about composting and recycling.
Do we have any other questions, comments?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Have any of our large agricultural farmers bought into this program yet?
So when we first were awarded the funds from USDA, we did get some calls from an agricultural organization. And so once we are composting and the program is running, we do plan to reach out to those. But there are some testings that we need to do with our compost product, the finished product, prior to be able to apply that to agricultural lands. So once we are set up and going and can get the testings done to ensure that it's safe to apply it to those agricultural crops. But one of the portions of our grant was to definitely work with the agricultural producers, and we also want to reach out to them to encourage them to compost on their land if they're not already doing so.
Good.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you for coming in today. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Oh, we're going to have a blast. All right, we're moving on to B, approval to award the green area contract for landscape maintenance for linear medians for various roads throughout the county. You can see the breakdown for year 1 and year 2 monthly, and then the annual cost is both on there with a contingency of about 20%, which I'm assuming is 10% each year, or is that 20% each year? That would be my only question. Well, I saw that,
The
but,
20% is a little bit more than what you typically see. You typically see like a 10%.
right.
The reasoning here is twofold. So this is a 2-year bid. We're awarding the first year contract and with a 1-year renewal. So that's the cost there. And then inside of so there's a listed of the different medians within the AIS that it shows. In the event that we have storm during hurricane season, there's a per event cost. So we don't know how many of those, so we don't have those in the base cost. That's the $10,000 per event. So we put a placeholder there.
Okay.
That would be for the life of the contract, the 2 years, should we take the second year. So that's what there's.
Makes sense. Can I get a motion to put this on the floor?
Sorry.
I'll make the motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. That'll work. And Mr. Harriet, do you have anything to add to it? I mean,
One thing I wanted to add,
I think he's been talking the whole time, so you might as well take some time out of
that's
it.
okay. I do want to give a big shout out, Victoria's already gone, but I want to give a big shout out to Victoria. I know she gets up here and gets a little quirky and funny, but her heart and soul is into this thing. Y'all don't know, like, she's deep into it. But she's doing a great job. But I know on this one, we are about 18 to 20% less on these contract numbers than we were over the previous years. In staff with Public Works, we've increased to, I think we're fully staffed in our grounds maintenance. So we have taken, it used to have Gardens Corner, that intersection was included in this contract, and also the maintenance on the Spanish Moss Trail from the city of Beaufort out towards Grace Hill. So we're taking that into our maintenance, so that reduces some of our costs in that. So
Okay.
we're able to do that work in-house.
The county's taking that into their
Yes.
maintenance and taking it off the contract. Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I may, while you're up there, I know that the Ladies Island Business Professional Association on, I know it's a state road, but on Sands Point Road, they have sponsors for each one of the medians. Is that something maybe the Beaufort County, Keep Beaufort County Beautiful Board?
They actually sponsor the Gardens Corner one right now,
okay.
so it's the Friends of Gardens Corner, I think is their thing. They actually sponsor that now, so they have some funding, and we're actually gonna use some of their funding to do some plantings and things like that out there too as
Okay.
well. But
Well,
they-
yeah, but I think with these, the company that throws the sign out there is the one that's on
Responsible
the
for
hook for it.
maintaining
Yeah,
it, yep.
maintaining it, so it's
Yep.
no cost to
Right.
the state reduces.
And we
their
wanted to
liability.
kind of take that one on. It's small enough that we can handle it.
Right, right.
And we just wanted to have our presence out there as well. We think we could do a little bit better job than what the contractor was doing because they were on a basic landscape maintenance. So we were trying to do a little bit better than, a little more than what they were doing.
Any other questions about the contract? Just for us and the public, if there's something in our district, whether it's maintenance or animals, side of the road, anything like that, who would we call or who would they call, just for the public?
Public Works,
Okay,
yeah. Public Works main number.
perfect.
Yep. So just call there and we'll get, even if it's a state road, we still go out and help on state roads as well
Right.
too. I mean, if it's something that's, in the way, we'll help the state out. Vice versa, the state will help us out as well too, so.
Or on that question, BC Connect app. So there's been discussion on that, and we have had some items that have been in the queue for a while. We're working through that. We had some internal glitches, and we're identifying all that, but that is another resource. So in addition to calling the number, folks can submit that, and we'll be much more responsive moving forward through BC Connects.
Perfect. Can this be?
Question?
Yes, absolutely.
So on 278, for example, some of the HOAs do the median.
They do. Certain sections, so it's listed here in some of the sections, I think from Rose Hill
Yeah.
to the next section,
Right.
that's in part of this. But some of the HOAs do, like, I know Berkeley Hall, Belfair, they do like the median and then their front of their
Right.
gated area.
Right.
And we skip those areas.
But they don't get to put signs up. Nobody knows they do it. Yeah, okay.
Tab, if you want to buy a sign and put it up saying you clean the area, you can. Can this be done without objection? And this will be approved with no objection. All right, we'll move on to C, approval and ordinance to amend Beaufort County's ordinance, Chapter 102 Waterways, Articles. Bear with me, guys. 1, Sections 102-1, Definitions, Article 2, Division 1, Section 102-27, Purpose Section 102-28, penalties. Section 102-29, general prohibitions. Sections 102-30, dock rules. Section 102-31, landing rules. Division 2, Section 102-61, description. Divisions 3, Section 102-95, description. Section 102-98, penalties. Section 102-99, general prohibitions. Section 102-100, dock rules. Section 102-101, landing rules, Article 3. Section 102-133, definition. Section 102-134, penalties. And then Section 102-136, student riders, Article, oh, someone help me with the numbers, 5? 4? Work with me here. Abandoned and and both Section 102-175 through 102-183. Do I have a motion to put all of those on the floor? Please.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
We just set you up for success. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. It's good to see you all. Thank you for having me. I'm Dylan Kidd. I'm a deputy county attorney. I have been given the opportunity to bring this another long-awaited ordinance, essentially rewrite, in front of you today. This has been going on for quite some time, as I think everyone is aware. I've been lucky to work on this with ACA John Robinson. And throughout this process, we have talked to private citizens, members of the business community, municipalities, law enforcement. We do have SED&R First Sergeant Gant here with us today in support, and we have been working with folks throughout the state on this. So I wanted to give you a little history and a little synopsis as to what you're going to see when you take a look at this. The first and obvious thing that we would do with any ordinance when we go back through it to take a look is a basic cleanup. You'll see a lot of sections that were crossed out or otherwise edited here. We wanted to trim out areas where we could. I think we've cut down the size of the ordinance a good bit from what it used to be. We have standardized the penalties and enforcement procedures across the ordinance. We have specified scopes of responsibility between different individuals and agencies when it comes to enforcing this. And we have generally tried to streamline it to make it read a little bit better. As to the substance, the first major substantive area, this gets referred to sometimes shorthand as the abandoned boats ordinance, and that was a major thing that everybody, I think, just driving around the county, you're able to see, be it after a storm or even without a storm. You will see boats that have made their ways to somewhere that they probably should not be and seem to be in a state of disrepair. So we wanted to take a look at how we could address this. Now, for us, we didn't have a lot of discretion in doing that because South Carolina Code 50-2110 and the sequence from there dictates that if a local government is to enact an abandoned boats ordinance, it has to be identical to the state ordinance when it comes to those abandoned boats. So we have no discretion, or it says, or otherwise authorized, which basically means identical. So we didn't have a lot of discretion in sections 102-78 and on. Those are directly provided for under state law. That is the process by which abandoned boats are noticed and removed. So we are not able to really substantively tinker with those. The sections in front of that, the purposes, definitions, et cetera, those are things that we added in there as well that are not inconsistent with the removal process. So in the other major section is going to be, I think that we will discuss some of the commercial uses of county docks, landings, piers, et cetera. Now, throughout this process, we listened to community members who had complained that businesses like jet ski rentals, paddleboard rentals, and other businesses like that would frequently consume a whole lot of space at our public docks, landings, et cetera. So we tried to take those concerns into consideration in addressing this. We also heard from commercial marina operators who would complain that their businesses are hurt when businesses avoid leasing slip space and then use the public landings as their place of business. It creates a competitive disadvantage between someone who leases a marina slip versus someone who uses a public boat landing. At last count, I think we had 17 businesses that we found that were listing public boat landings as their addresses for place of business. So we were trying to address that in this process. So what I want to stress is that what we've put forward here is a reflection of the concerns that we've heard and our proposal to attempt to balance those with the other interests within the community. Anything that council wishes to do to restrict commercial activity or chooses not to do is entirely the decision of committee and ultimately council. And so to the extent that y'all wish to make edits, changes, et cetera, we are certainly happy to hear that feedback, and I would love to answer any questions for you that I can today.
All right, any questions?
I have one.
Yes, sir. Oh, you were ready.
Yeah, section 102 dash 31, where it talks about fishing at public boat landings. I have encountered several situations where citizens fishing at the boat landings and the boats coming in, me myself personally encountered some of this. Haven't had any real problem with them getting out of the way or moving to the other side to let you in. But what I have encountered is that there's a boat dock where it's right in the vicinity of a housing project, and some of the residents come down to the dock with their dogs unleashed. And so when the boats come up to the dock, then you ask them to control their dogs, and if they comply, fine. If they don't comply, then you got a confrontation that's getting ready to start, take place here. How do we, the boaters, deal with a resident on the dock with a dog that he or she doesn't control, wouldn't control?
I think that ties into some other areas in which I've had some experience, which is our animals ordinance and proceedings under that. I do prosecute the magistrate level code enforcement cases, and what that sounds like is a running at large issue, and which we do see quite a bit. Generally speaking, anywhere within the county-owned facility like that, a dog is required to be on a leash at all times. If they are not, that is a violation of our running at large provision of our animal ordinance. So if we also have changed the definitions within this ordinance to say that law enforcement, aka BCSO, or someone else also includes code enforcement. So code enforcement will be in the loop as to enforcing any of these issues at our public docks, landings, et cetera. They would be charged with pursuing any animal ordinance violations like that. So they would essentially, a code enforcement officer is able to both proceed under enforcing the waterways ordinance as well as animal control concerns. So that would be my initial reaction to that question.
Okay, so in an instance like that, then who do you call?
Um,
Sheriff Department?
Sheriff's Department, code enforcement, any of the, code enforcement generally speaking as to the animal control matters,
Code
or
enforcement.
BCAS.
Code
animal services.
enforcement is on duty on the weekends?
Well, that is a resources issue that we are going to have to address, and I will tell you, I am meeting with DNR and the municipalities, the town of Bluffton, on Wednesday to hammer out the nuts and bolts of the enforcement of the abandoned boats procedures, to say who is going to do what exactly in terms of removing, noticing, or otherwise pursuing the abandoned boats issue and the other provisions within our two ordinances, because the town of Bluffton has the first issue, their ordinance up for first reading as well.
For nights or weekends, they can call the sheriff's office. They enforce state law. It's a violation of state law to be off a leash if you're off your own private property.
Do we have signs that say dogs must be on leash, or critters could be something else? I don't know.
You do that, but it's not necessary because it's a violation of the ordinance
Yeah.
and state law.
But, I mean, if you call the sheriff's office, unless they're right there, by the time they get there, that dog and owner are gone. But shouldn't we have some signs so people, I mean, not nobody, but some people haven't read the ordinance about dogs being on a leash or whatever. Shouldn't we put a sign up?
Again, it's a state law as well.
We don't have signs at all of our public boat landings that talk about animals should be leashed. It is a county-wide policy.
Statewide.
And, well, yes, thank you. Statewide policy. Our animal control officers are available 24 hours a day. So any phone call to the animal control hotline, you will leave a message and you'll get an officer to call you back, or an officer will answer the phone.
So they should call animal control, not the sheriff.
You have a lot of options, because you're
Which
crossing.
one was gonna
you're-
respond faster?
Probably in this case, animal control, for sure, but you have two ordinances that, and the state ordinance that govern the same activity,
Sure.
or similar activity at the same location.
I would
So
just
there's lots of
suggest-
things that could apply. If
It would
it's a
be quicker
dangerous
with
animal,
animals.
if it's a dangerous animal, call 911 immediately. And that will get you the closest law enforcement officer that, in that jurisdiction, to help manage that situation. And that law enforcement officer will also reach out to animal control officer, and then codes enforcement if that's needed as well.
Something needs to be done. It needs to be addressed because it's a accident or incident waiting to happen. I mean, when you encounter, this is my personal experience, when you encounter a citizen who walks down to the boat ramp and on the boat ramp with a dog unleashed and refuses to take the dog under control so that my wife and I can get off the boat onto the ramp. That's a situation that could spiral out of control and be detrimental.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
All right, I just got a series of questions. I'm just gonna, if you need me to repeat them, let me know. One, how many complaints have you received and over what period of time? And where were those complaints located, kind of, I guess, in general? And which marinas contacted you regarding the commercial leasing of the slips? And how many companies gave feedback on this particular ordinance?
So we received several complaints.
Do you have an exact number?
Is this the note that I sent you?
Yeah, it is, but we don't have a number.
Okay. No, I don't have a number. We had a commercial marina that is near, name, Palmetto Bay. Thanks, Hank. Palmetto Bay and Sea Pines were two of the marinas that complained about the, I guess it would be the commercial use of public landings that affect businesses who rent their slips. It encourages a disproportionate in favor to those folks who are not renting slips. In other words, these commercial businesses operate out of a public landing when they should be renting a slip and using that space. So it does create a disadvantage for some of those uses. You will see we were very careful to address those, making sure that we identified the exceptions for that right up front. There was a lot of discussion about the commercial fishing activities that were allowable exemptions under the restrictions for commercial use. So we tried to very carefully capture the discussion that we had to limit commercial use, yet not stifle the opportunity of the public to use our public boat ramps.
And like I said, where were most of those complaints located that came in?
We had, I would say, most of them from the south of the Broad boat ramps, boat landings, where the population density and the commercial activity conflict with one another at our boat landings.
Okay, and then, and once again, how many companies actually provided feedback on this? I know you said y'all found 17 that were using a commercial site with their, as
Yes.
a location, but how many actually gave feedback on this?
Of those commercial companies?
No, just throughout the county, how many companies actually provided
Oh, my.
feedback on this?
I didn't really keep track of that information. We have been working on this ordinance
Was
for
there
nearly
any-
a year.
Was there anybody,
Personal contacts?
yeah, was anybody involved in the drafting of this, or was this done internally? Did this
No,
go out to
this,
the public
this
ahead of
was,
time?
this was internal, so this was communication, some of it between those constituents and council members who during meetings made us aware that there were complaints of commercial use at our public landings.
I'll just let you know, I've already gotten negative feedback before this thing even was published about, especially from northern Beaufort County, because you got people that are using it right, that are trying to launch, their kayak rentals. They're not parking out there. That's just a meetup place for them to launch and go out there. And if we do this, that can put people out of business. And I don't think they're trying to, do anything wrong. I think they're actually using it. I don't mind them using it for a commercial purpose. I mean, obviously we have the crabbers and the oystermen. We've kind of done the commercial fishing carve out, but I don't think we should be passing this to favor marinas. I mean,
Councilman Bartholomew?
yeah.
This originated about 1.5 to 2 years ago, back when I was the deputy, and the complaints were coming in from Attorney Taylor and a few others, and it primarily centered around Buckingham Landing and like a barge operating there commercially, doing some transports, and then the jet skis, Sea Monkey, I think, or a couple other jet ski companies, and some kayaks there is what it was. So if you talk to Attorney Taylor, he could tell you what prompted those 4 or 5 complaints a year to 1.5 years ago. That's what started everything, and then we agreed that, all right, we'd bring it forth, and council would have to have the discussion as far as whether or not they would allow commercial activity or limited commercial activity at the docks, and that's why they're bringing this forth for you guys to have this discussion.
No, and I understand that, and that's why I was asking if it's limited to a particular boat landing, should we not just address that particular boat landing? Rather than, because it's gonna hurt people up here in northern Beaufort County and stifle economic opportunity out here.
That's a discussion council will have to have, and then determine, do they make it across the board, or do they limit it to a few of the piers or boat landings? That's all in council's prerogative, and that's for them to discuss and set the policy.
Fair enough.
Our position is not to debate that point. Staff took direction from council, created the exemptions as well as the prohibitions for commercial activity. We're here to edit that as you find necessary or see fit.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, David, I understand where you're coming from, and I've actually had lots of issues with the Alljoy landing. Even the one, the oyster companies in downtown Bluffton, it's actually, town of Bluffton, but still, it's still within the county. And then DeFusky, because you get all different types of things where you've got people that go and pull up there and just leave their boat there, taking up space. So how do we enforce that? What's going to happen to that? Because I get those calls saying it's been there for half the day. Who can you send over to enforce it? And then we also have issues with Alljoy where commercial people are not telling people they're commercial, but they're picking up people at the dock there, leaving cars parked there, and using Alljoy as a commercial pickup, and they're using all the parking then for a commercial activity as opposed to it being for the general public. So, and the same thing, I know Bluffton's had to work on the kayaks, because that's where a lot of the people there. So again, they're taking up spaces whenever on a busy Saturday morning, whenever, people that are residents of Beaufort. I mean, I've had people say we need to have a pass like you'd have for the convenience centers for the boat landings the same way, so that way we know it's only residential people. Again, but then who's going to enforce it? So enforcement and what the rules are and what people are using them for, and even the people that have the kayak companies, I'm sure are Beaufort County residents. And then you go to the boat landings, you see tons of people with Georgia in Bluffton with Georgia license plates that are coming over to use our landing so they can go to the sandbar or someplace else. So this is, in my district, has been a big, big deal. I've read through it. I need to go read through it again to find out where everything is, but it gets complicated because, once you have it there, who enforces it? Who's going to enforce? We can have someone that's available. The sheriff's not going to enforce it. He's going to look back and say, hey, that's a county enforcement, so.
In Bluffton, it's supposed to be the Bluffton Police Department.
Well, if it's in the town of Bluffton, so that's the oyster company. But then Alljoy is in the unincorporated area, and DeFusky's in the unincorporated area.
Yes, sir.
That's identified in the ordinance specifically for Bluffton.
Okay, perfect.
Mr. Chair, I do have just a follow-up question too. With section M, it talks about directly or indirecting to solicit business of any kind. How does this get into, let's say, somebody trying to sell a boat and doing sea trials? This would technically prohibit that. So how can I even go test a boat out? Even from a commercial company that sells boats, how can I go test it out? It'd be prohibited. I know it goes down to enforcement, but you couldn't even go test a boat out.
We in drafting this did take a look at that issue, and we reached the conclusion that we don't think that would be prohibited by the ordinance. Test driving a boat was a specific example that we discussed, as long as it's not being marketed and sold on the site of the public landing. If it is something where a consumer is test driving something that they have been looking to purchase elsewhere, we would take the position that would not violate this ordinance.
I see part of both of their arguments, but I also see the difference between a person that has a boat and takes two people out. You have a lot of people that do that right there on Pinckney Island. I know that is a big issue over there. And then people just drop their cars off, hop on the boat because the person put it in and they're running their business out of it. That I get. But then I do see some of the other arguments now when you start talking about people running jet skis out of a public landing. That's a lot different than a boat. When people are running 10 jet skis or 20 kayaks get dropped off and they have the triple deckers that they're bringing the trailers in and dropping them off that are on Pinckney Island every Saturday and Sunday. Be honest, I don't have the answer to solve it all the way around.
Well,
I don't know if any of us do. So where's that middle line that, because I'll be honest, you also could have the same argument. I can't go to a public road and set up shop on a public road and put a store out. I can't go put a vegetable stand out without permission of whoever owns it. It's no different than on a boat landing.
Well,
So,
I tell you what, Mr. Chair, if I may, you know, I do see some legitimate argument on both sides of this as well, but I think hearing that it really has been an internal process, I would make a motion to defer this to the next public facilities meeting and give us an opportunity to reach out to those businesses in the area to get feedback.
all right, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second, discussion. I don't have a problem with that. I would just say that, what are we opening it up to? To people that want to run a business out of a public landing, is the feedback you're going to get.
Maybe we invite them here to this next public meeting.
That's what I was gonna say, you know, just put it out there and so we can do the work here in committee instead of having to take up time at the regular county council session.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I think it's a good idea. I think the discussion will be healthy. My question for you is, and I'll support it, what are you looking to get out of it? If it's just going to people to come here and say, we want to still run our business out of a landing, where does that put us afterwards?
Well, I mean, they're the ones that are more closely tied to it. Maybe they can tell us, hey, we're willing to do a permit, or maybe we can set aside X number of parking spaces as commercial and permit those. You know, maybe we could turn it into a revenue source for the county and offset that cost. I mean, they're the ones that are better situated at finding that middle ground.
Mhm.
And I think most of the people that have reached out to me, this is before this even got published, they caught wind of this, and I mean, they were mad, and I think they want an opportunity to be heard. And maybe we can find that middle ground. I mean, these are rational people.
Yeah, just wanted clarity for the
No,
goal of
yeah.
it, that's all. Is this something, I mean, obviously, there's multiple things here, including the abandonment of boats. Is
Right.
this something we want to separate and move the rest forward, or do we want to keep this together? Are we on a timeline, I guess, is what I'm asking, for the abandonment of boats, because I know the town of Bluffton.
They are proceeding, they've had their first reading. I do think we want to keep everything together,
Okay.
just from that standpoint.
We have a first and second on the floor. Is there any objection to postpone this to the next scheduled?
Well, I guess question, do we want to just pause 10229, I guess? I think that's the only section in question, and be able to move the remainder of it forward for the abandoned boats, because I know that's a real issue too that needs to move forward. Is that going to complicate things?
Well, I mean, it says
Yeah,
Let's
well,
keep it together.
Okay, just keep it together.
And I think you're right. I would encourage originally to move forward to county council to have the discussion, but you're right. I do think it will take a lot of time.
Yeah.
So it's something that we want to make sure that we're not constrained on. Any other discussion? Any objection to postpone this? Sorry.
No, I was just gonna ask, so what is the motion?
To postpone to the next scheduled public facilities
Just
committee
kick it
meeting.
back a month and get some feedback.
What was the date? 20th? Thank you.
And staff's okay with that?
Yes, sir, we're very much in favor of committee doing all the legwork and suggesting all the changes and edits that sees fit.
Okay.
Hank?
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
sir. I will say that the inspiration for the prohibitions was that what Mr. Holbert talked about earlier.
Mhm.
Last year, we had commercial businesses using our public boat ramps and no mechanism to manage that behavior. This was intended to give us the opportunity to manage some of that behavior. That's why it's there.
Yeah, I don't think the discussion's necessarily like that we don't want a way to management or tools to use. It's just what's the best practice to get there and see if there is a middle ground to make this successful and on the right foot, just kind of like we did, if you guys remember about a year and a half, 2 years ago with our passive parks. We came out swinging with, have to get a license, do all this stuff, and we took it back, revised it, came out with a great product, and we moved forward.
We've got the outside agency here, so if there's questions about the abandoned boat aspect of it, if we ask those now, Ray doesn't have to
I
make.
thought he was just here to keep us safe today.
Yeah. But do you have questions for him as far as the process and what they're gonna do?
Any questions? Is there anything that you wanted to add to it? I mean, you already came and hung out with us for an hour, so.
No, just here to, based on the evening, anything, I wasn't really prepared to speak at all, but, if there was any question, they did just change the law for the abandonment process. So it is kind of more of a streamlined
Yeah.
process, just the definitions in there that changed on there as far as what's a derelict and a abandoned vessel, so they just gave more of a categorized, so some of them may be abandoned, some of them let them out there due to whatever, a natural disaster, or it could be something just that's sitting there that you can't, that they just neglected completely, so.
Yes, sir. Can this be done with no objection or postponed until the next meeting on October 20th?
Yes.
And this is postponed until October 20th with no objection.
Thank you.
You made me read that entire thing, and I'm gonna have to read it again at the next meeting now.
I'll read it for you. I'll read it for you. And I know my Roman numerals.
All right. Law school finally taught you something. All right, moving on to the next one. Approval of resolution authorizing the county administrator to enter into an MOA with wet utility providers to comply with provisions of South Carolina Act 36. Do we have a motion to put this on the floor?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
By Ms. Howard, thank you. All right. How are you?
Good, and you?
Doing well.
Good. Only 2 items for you today.
All right, let's do it.
So Act 36 is a state legislation that governs the interaction of transportation projects taken on by a public entity in a wet utility, a water or sewer. So for a large utility, which all the ones that we will encounter are, the county is responsible for up to 4% of the relocation costs, not a betterment, but just relocation. So this gives the administrator the authorization to enter into an MOA with those utilities when those come up. And then that utility would be updated after it's approved at council with the final cost. So you would be presented to it when the award is presented, so.
Any questions?
No.
This be approved, no objection. And I see no objection. This will move on. Approval and ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of utility easement number 907041 for right-of-way owned by Beaufort County known as Dolphin Watch Point, located on Ladies Island. Do we have a motion to put this on the floor as well?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And a second?
I'll second it.
By Tab, thank you.
And this is just one of our current dirt road paving projects. Dominion had a couple utility poles that were going to be in the new roadway, so they had to move those utility poles out of the roadway. They stayed within the right-of-way. We retain our prior rights, so this is just giving them an easement to access those poles.
So financially, we're not paying for any movement of them. We're
No.
just still responsible for the road that we've already funded.
Yep, they didn't have prior rights, so they have to pay for it. The relocation, this just gives them easement to access it, so.
Okay, that's pretty clean. Anybody questions? This be approved with no objection. And this is approved with no objection as well. Thank you. Isn't it fun waiting an hour just for 5 minutes?
Listen.
All right. Approval of an ordinance to appropriate excess funds collected from the 2018 transportation sales tax. Do I have a motion to put this on the floor?
I'll make the motion to appropriate the excess funds.
And a second?
I'll second.
By Ms. Howard, thank you. Jared?
Thank you. So this is the secondary act to what you guys did in July. So in July, we brought forth a resolution to redefine the project list from 2018. And we've had to date up to, it was $120 million was the sales tax. We collected $146 million. We previously, I'm trying to get to my page. We previously had already allocated through a separate ordinance $15 million to go towards sidewalks and pathways. So this is the remaining $11 million, and it would go towards the road project list, or the project list that was defined in the earlier resolution from July. So this is just the final dotting our i's and crossing our t on the appropriation of those funds.
Do we have that list on hand now or no?
Yeah, it's in the resolution in the backup.
That's my fault.
So it's right
That's fine.
there.
Well, she was looking at me like she was gonna pull it up. Sarah's not there, so.
It's like right there.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to put it up for the public is what I was thinking originally. We will,
Good save.
no. No, you're fine. You're fine. Any questions? Discussion?
Mr. Chair, I just want to say a huge thank you to Jared. He came out to Ladies Island Business Professional Association, gave an update to the community, and did a wonderful job, and I just want to thank him for taking the time to do that.
Absolutely.
This will be approved with no objection, and this has to move on to county council, correct?
Yes, it's an ordinance, so
Yep.
it'll need 3 readings.
All righty, this will be approved and move on to the next county council meeting. Thank you, sir. Let's move on. Approval of an ordinance to appropriate $148,912 to St. James Baptist Church for the established project funds associated furniture and fixtures related to the overall project.
I'll make the motion to appropriate those funds.
A second?
I'll second.
Mr. Dawson, thank you. All righty.
All right, I'll explain it. If we don't have the availability to put the cost estimate up, I'll describe it as best as possible. Overall, the project cost is a little over $8 million, and then the land cost, both the existing land and the new proposed 5-acre site, is about $4 million. So the overall total cost of the project is $12 million. However, a lot of the land costs, both the existing site and the future site, are credited. They're not really expenses. So what we've done is we've updated the cost estimate so you can see it clearly, and our revenues and expenses match. So it's $9.84 million. And inside of that is a contribution from St. James Baptist for the value of their existing parcel. So they're taking the purchase price of almost $3 million, and that's in the project funds to construct the new facility. And then what's been included in the total project costs from the beginning has been not only the facility itself, the new church, the fellowship hall, and the relocation of the school, but also the outfit of the new sanctuary and such. So this is the furniture and fixtures. Like I said, it's $848,000. The church, this would be appropriated to the church. They would submit quarterly reports on the expenditures of that, and then they would go ahead and move forward on purchasing the furniture and selecting the vendors that they want. So it'll be working concurrently with us as we're put out our procurement for the advertisement and construction of the facility. So.
Good question.
Yes, ma'am.
You said they'll select furniture and like the windows and all those, they'll use their own procurement system, not ours, correct?
That's right. It'll be the church selecting those.
Okay. But if they come in over, this is a bottom line number.
This is the number. So if they come in over it,
That's
on them. So they feel confident with the numbers. They've updated them and have already been working. Your Church Partners is the project liaison and sponsor for the church. They've helped them already, guide them and make sure they're in the budget.
Okay.
So they feel good. The one thing to note is in a previous version of the cost estimate, it included the windows in the church. They've moved that because the storm-rated windows and the stained glass into this furniture and fixture. So it moved from construction cost into furniture and fixture. So the overall cost is still the same from what's been proposed in the original cost estimate, but that cost has transitioned.
I have a question, please.
Yes, ma'am.
So, forgive me for asking, but this project has taken a long time. So I'm looking at number 4. If they don't spend this within a 3-year window, they have to give the money back. Is it feasible they're going to get it done in a 3-year window?
Yeah, so I really hope we get this project done soon. So where we are in the project, we have some things to iron out, but we're getting pretty close to being able to put the project out to bid. Once we do, the project has a 15-month timeline for construction. So given the timeline of construction and even some spare time in there, we feel confident that the construction will be delivered, and these furniture and fixtures are simultaneous, so they'll be running in tandem. So as long as they have a
Just
building to
checking.
put them in, they should be able to meet that 3-year timeline.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My other question, this is the same funding that we promised them before, we're just appropriating the funds now?
Yeah. So overall, just to explain the funding, so you guys are extremely comfortable, what we have is we have $300,000 initially from the county and the town to get started on the project. We have $5 million from two separate appropriations from the state. We have $3.5 million in GEO bond funds that the county has put forth. And then now the $1.3 million in funds that the church will use as well. So that in total is the $9.8 million that we have for the project. And as you see, if you scroll up just a little bit, the construction cost is estimated about 7.8. So inside that budget, at the bottom, there is contingency. So this is a fully developed cost estimate that we feel comfortable, both with the prices and contingencies.
Any other discussion? This be approved with no objection, and I see no objection. This is approved.
All right, thank you.
All right. John, approval of the resolution to implement a customer facility charge on rental car contracts and direct the collection and application of the CFC proceeds. I have a motion to put this on the floor?
So move.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Lawson. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good, good. First off, this is a revenue-generating item, so I just want to get that out front. And if you're not familiar with a CFC, customer facility charge, it is, it's very common. So if you rent a car at an airport, if you go through the details of your invoice, chances are you'll find a customer facility charge in there somewhere. Kind of like when you look at a hotel receipt and find the different taxes and fees that are added on. This is one of those fees, and what a CFC is used for is this is an agreed upon item where an airport teams up with the rental car agencies to implement this program, and the rental car agencies collect the funds and then remit the funds to the airport, and those funds will be used for projects that will benefit the airport and the rental car agencies. So this could be, in our case, in phase 2 of the terminal expansion renovation project, there will be new rental car counters, desks, that sort of thing. Out in the parking lot, there'd be parking improvements, and then potentially in the future, something like a consolidated quick turn facility where they turn the cars over for the next renters. So those types of projects are what would
You can use
eventually
the
be
funding
funded
for.
by these. Yes.
Have any questions?
I do, please. It's a $6 charge each time, right? How many rentals do they have in a month, roughly? How many car rentals? Just punt.
I can tell you that during the summer months, between the rental car agencies, they're making over $1 million a month in gross revenue. I don't know how that translates into their transaction days. That's internal data that we'll get as part of this process, so I don't have a good answer for you right now. It's a lot during the summer season. I will say that from the airport standpoint, as a revenue line item, that's one of our top revenue line items, just because of the fact that it's a destination airport, so a significant amount of travelers do rent cars.
I was just wondering, because you're saying it's gonna fund other things. Well, it's $6 a car unless they're renting giant amounts of cars. It takes a long time to mount up $6 per car,
Is that not
Well,
per
it
day?
is $6 per transaction day.
per transaction.
So if you rent a car for 5 days, it's $30 additional
Oh, it's per day.
per transaction day, yes.
So
And that's
think
how
about
they're
if
always
They do
written.
250 cars a week during the summer, 7 days,
Probably easily. Yeah.
10 Gs in a week. So $40,000 a month, at least 4 months out of the year that we're that busy. It's 40,000 over the year, easily turn to 150K.
And what we'll do, this is just getting the process started. So we'll engage with our financial consultant, and the rental car agencies do this frequently. So we'll all put our notes together and workshop this and come up with pro formas as well as project list to fund. But this gets us started so that we can get this underway.
Thank you.
All right. Any objection? And I see no objection. This will also be approved.
Thank you.
With that, unless anybody else has any further business, I will conclude this meeting. I believe we are back at, is it 5?
No.
Oh, we're back at the